Evening all, Chief Prepper here. Getting ready to talk about something that I don't talk about a lot. So, Canadian Prepper, Marfugel News, aka Marvin Dex, and other people have talked about the importance of the times we're living in, and if you're watching videos and it stresses you out and causes problems, that you need to stop, and that's important. I'm going to talk about something else. So, I believe we will be at war sometime soon. May, I've predicted this before, May time frame. If we're lucky, it won't be here in America. I said on a video before, and I'll say it again, about 2 weeks ago I was talking to a friend of mine about how eerily similar the circumstances that Powers Booth explained in Red Dawn 1 of World War III starting were in it. Start out with a couple of things that I know for a fact. The last 20 years, Russia has been modernizing their nuclear arsenal. We've been reducing ours. If you watch Canadian Prepper's channel, where he had the retired lieutenant colonel who was running for some office in, I want to say, New Mexico, then you know some more details about the nuclear arsenal that a lot of people didn't know. So, Russia has perfected the supersonic missile system. They've tested it. They've shot down satellites. I saw some stuff today saying that they are jamming GPS signals and over in that part of the world. So what you need to understand it is, if Russia believes they can win a nuclear war, then I would strongly encourage everyone not to underestimate what they're willing to do. Now we're going to get to kind of like the meat of the video. I went to war twice. First time was 0304 with 3-2 Striker out of Fort Lewis, 296 Brigade Support Battalion, and Bravo Company, the maintenance company. That trip was very, very challenging. So it was not uncommon for us to be mortared or rocketed between as few as none to as many as 6 or 7 times a day. Most of the mortar barrages were no less than 5 or 6. I survived 54 mortars within 100 yards of me. If war comes here, it's going to change you. So, change you drastically. When you live in constant fear, when someone's trying to kill you all the time. Because of my trips to Iraq, the 2 years that I spent over there, I can't stand anybody who's Muslim or from a Muslim country. I don't like the way they live, don't like their religion, and that's a personal thing. So I always wondered why my dad hated Vietnamese, and he was a Vietnam vet, and a lot of World War II POWs don't like the Japanese or the Germans, or, basically when you spend time where somebody or a group of people are trying to kill you all the time, it tends to make you ugly towards them. And that's not the important part. I went 0304, then I went back 0910. 0910 I was in Baghdad the whole time. 0304 I was in Samarra for 30 days, and then Mosul for 10.5 months. For the 6 years after I went to war the first time, I struggled with hyper-awareness. It's been almost 20 years, and I still like to sit with my back to the wall where I can watch the door. I lived in the first year 600 yards for firefights. The bad guys used to drive into a traffic circle going into Muslim and launch mortars. We can hope that the war doesn't come here. We can pray, but I think it's coming. Having said that, in war, the thing that you concentrate most on is staying alive. And if you're a leader, then you concentrate on keeping your soldiers alive. Not an easy thing to do. Speaking to the current soldiers, you need to understand that the people who are in charge of you right now may not always have your best interest at heart. There are rules that the Army and the military forces run by, and unfortunately, sadly, we're all just a number. I'll give you an example. Both times I went to Iraq, I was in charge of electronic light maintenance shop. Repaired radios, communications, thermal weapon systems, electronics. The Army has programs and numbers, and they predict that you're going to lose so many people. Both times I went with between 21 and 23, maybe 24 people, and I came back with over 30. I didn't lose any. There's not a lot of people who can say that going once, let alone twice. I'm not tuning my own horn, it's just simple numbers. The Army expects to lose people. Today it came out that there's been a chemical weapons used in Ukraine. Whether it was Ukrainians using it on themselves or Russians, it doesn't matter. It's an example of what people are willing to do. So, the second year I went, 2010, I went because me and my wife have struggled since I went the first time, and don't know if that's ever going to go away. War tends to change people. For me, I lost my sense of humor. The sense of humor I have, most people don't appreciate. I think it's funny when someone does something stupid and pays a price physically for it, as in walking into a door or, smacking themselves, literally. So, I didn't used to be able to watch war movies. They would get me very amped up. Anything with violence or gunshots. To this day, I have lost hearing in 2 frequencies from the explosions. This is the part of the video that you need to pay attention to. War is probably coming. So right now, while you can, you need to find moments of peace, and you need to enjoy them. Today I made French bread pizza, and I had ice cream afterwards, which has got me thinking about making this video. So when I went back to Baghdad back to Iraq the second time, I slept better that entire year than I did the previous 6 years. And since coming home the second time, it was better, but it was still had sleep issues. So I have sleep apnea with CPAP. So if people who have PTSD don't have sleep apnea, then they probably don't have PTSD. Not necessarily always the case, but often. So it's important you find and you take and you enjoy moments of peace now. There's a decent chance in the coming future, whether it's 3 weeks, 24 hours, a week, 6 months, where there's not going to be a lot of opportunities to enjoy peace. Take all of the moments of peace and joy that you can get right now and enjoy them. I will tell you, continue to stack everything, ammo, food, ways to convert water from non-potable to potable. Work on your bug-in plans, work on your bug-out plans, work on everything. Try to treat everything that is a snake in the room. 2 years ago it was COVID. 2 years ago was, we gotta wear a stupid fucking mask that never worked. And then you got, supply chain issues, shortages, and we're moving into inflation. Now, 6 months ago, we were starting to hear rumblings about Russia, Ukraine. Now there's a full-out war. Now we got the possibility of World War III. Treat all those issues like a snake in the room. Step on that motherfucker if you need to, but be aware of it, but try not to obsess about it. Prepping has become a thing for me. I pretty much focus on it more than anything else. So, other than taking care of my dad, preparing things for me and my wife and my dad,